Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're having a good Friday. It's Friday, July 22nd, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to check in on where the cryptocurrency space stands as we head into the weekend. And we're going to look at the stock market to see where sentiment is heading into the weekend there as well. Next week is a big week. So next week we've got big tech earnings, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, pretty much Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And on Wednesday, we have FOMC. So some pullback in the broader market today, not surprising. Some profit taking heading into next week. There's a lot of unknowns. And after the gains over the last 6-day bounce, certainly appears logical to take some profit into those unknowns. So appreciate the likes and the shares and all that. And got a bounce play at the moment, but a break-even stop, so I won't be too distracted. So the Nasdaq is starting daily consolidation. Stair-step pattern of a higher low every single day for 6 days in a row has now broken. The most likely scenario is that a daily higher low is going to form. The question is, how much do we pull back before that daily higher low does form? So the scenario, I talked in the broader market video yesterday where pretty much best case scenario for the bulls, in my opinion, would be daily consolidation into a bullish FOMC reaction, because what that would do would have a bunch of bears jump in and then put the pressure right back on them if it were a bullish reaction to the FOMC. But I personally won't be placing any kinds of bets. I will be very much cash into the FOMC and looking to play the reaction. And the Nasdaq from here, there's a lot of space for an hourly lower high to be the result of the next bounce. So very clearly weakness. And the Nasdaq has been leading the way to the downside today after leading the way to the upside. And again, the way we can view that is QQQ divided by SPY. It has been going up on this bounce, showing Nasdaq relative strength against the S&P 500 and a big pullback day today, starting the daily pullback, which is showing the opposite. So bulls want the Nasdaq to be leading on the way up and bears want the Nasdaq to be leading on the way down. So the bears have some nice confidence today with this pullback. And again, a lot of space for an hourly lower high to be the result of the next bounce, which has the bears comfortable and confident, knowing that traders like myself will be looking to bounce on that hourly lower high. Just stopped out of my biotech sector bounce, break even. Still possible to change the 5-minute trend, but playing counter trend and distracted. Break even it is. So the Bitcoin divided by Nasdaq chart showing us relative strength and weakness is looking for a daily higher low to try and form. If we lose the daily higher lows on this chart, for me it increases probabilities that the top of our bounce is being set in the crypto space. So I'm watching this very closely. Again, it's just one of the little clues where if we're going to have continued confidence in this bounce, we want to see the crypto sector, or Bitcoin specifically, showing strength relative to stocks. So keeping an eye on that. Bitcoin is attempting a daily bull flag. The stronger altcoins have already confirmed a daily bull flag. A lot of names are puttering around within a 12-hour range. So if we look at the 12-hour for Bitcoin, we've got the high, the low, right off 12-hour EMA 12, and now potentially a lower high shaping up. So if this is going to be a daily bull flag, the bulls must hold 22.3. If we confirm the 12-hour downtrend, then the daily bull flag will be way less likely, and we'll be keeping an eye on daily EMA 12, but also the possibility that weekly consolidation may be shaping up if that level were to break. Can this be a weekly bear flag? Absolutely. It is still possible. The live stream that we did last Wednesday, we were keeping an eye out for the daily consolidation to begin. We've gotten it. It was very minimal, but Bitcoin's got to hold that 12-hour high or low and have a bullish weekend if we're going to keep this short-term control. Because again, if you lose that 12-hour support level, that's the first clear 12-hour lower high and lower low that we've seen in a while. So that's a key support level for me. And it's possible that we just tighten up for most of the next 24 hours. Hourly time frame, just like the Nasdaq, we got space for an hourly lower high to be the result of the next bounce. So that is the most important level for me. 22.3 thousand. So there's a lot of altcoins that are already giving us 12-hour lower highs. You can see Bitcoin, it's not really convincing, but let's just go down our altcoin list real quick. Atom is one of our lead bulls. We'll look at that closer. But Matic, 12-hour tightening range. Just treat it like an equilibrium. Aggressive bulls are going to be looking to play off of 12-hour supports. I personally, as I mentioned, am not going to be an aggressive bull at this point in time. So again, the high, the low, the lower high. Can the bulls hold 7966 and keep the 12-hour higher lows going and keep some control or not? And that's the question that the weekend is going to answer. Sol, week or 12-hour lower high has been set. Looking down at support to see if the downtrend gets confirmed. ICP, lower high is set. AVX, it is set. Sushi, it is set. You get the idea. Doge heading down towards support. GMT, waves, little weak bear flag on declining volume. So some names are better positioned than others. Look at the bounce retracement size on sand. So on sand here, we had a bounce retracement of 70%. And you compare that to waves. What was our bounce retracement on waves? 40%. Very big difference. We don't have nearly as much space to form a 12-hour higher low and a tightening range on waves as we do on sand. That's how we look at two individual altcoins and differentiate a bit between them and say one's stronger and the other's weaker. And we can see that clearly by the bounce size and the amount of space that the bulls have to work with. XRP. So again, everybody, this is what I do every morning. When I'm checking in on the altcoin space every morning, midday, evening, whatever it is, I just I found the time frame that is most clear for me on Bitcoin, and then I run down the alt list because I know I have imprinted in my brain now, this is what Bitcoin's chart is, and I can see the slight variations on all these altcoins, whether they're stronger or weaker. And so this morning, that's what I did in the chat room, and that allows me to be able to easily distinguish, I'm finding the post right now, but just easily distinguish who's stronger and who's weaker. And so first thing this morning, can see the lead bulls that already hit higher highs on the daily. Atom, ETH, OMG, APE, ENS, names that are testing. So those haven't broken yet, but they're right there. BNB and FTT. Everything else is the mixed bag because of the 12-hour retracement. And the weaker names, Waves, GMT, yada, yada. So that's how I look at the whole space. You can say weaker, middle of the road, or stronger, weak of the road. You know what I'm saying. Stronger, middle of the road, weaker. So the 12-hour is where I have clarity. And then once the 12-hour breaks, I'll zoom out and find a different time frame that has clarity. Right now, some traders may be zoomed in on the hourly for clarity because they're more interested in trading the shorter term moves. And maybe they're looking for an hourly bounce here in the short term. That is not me personally. I'm sticking to the bigger picture, zoomed out. And we did get a bounce on BITI, this bearish ETF. Trying to set up a little bit of a daily trend change here. We'll have to see what the weekend does. But I traded this for the first time earlier this week. And looking to add this to my tool belt to be able to easily short crypto, because I can't in the US easily on many exchanges, but be able to easily short it. And most of the time it will be for day trades. But sometimes if I have confidence, it will be for swing trades. BITI, plenty of volume. 30 plus million a day recently. $30 plus million. All right, so ETH. And I'm going to have a quiz question for you. No TCG members. Spoil the answer. So ETH, daily bull flag confirmed. How could we have known that it might be a fake out, that there would not be follow through? I'll wait. Nice move up on the hourly. Some increasing bull volume. Resistance of 1631 breaks. We broke resistance by less than 1%, pretty much 1%. How could we have known? All right, it's taking too long. ETH BTC did not break resistance. We did not confirm the daily bull flag. We use these BTC pairings for clues. So we know that in an ideal bull scenario, the BTC pairing needs to be leading or doing the exact same thing. If it is lagging, it's a red flag. That tells us be cautious, because if the BTC pairing does not break resistance, we're likely not going to get any follow through. So we rejected from resistance. Povilius gets the correct answer. So it's still not game over. You know, we could form a 4-hour higher low and then break these resistances if Bitcoin maintains the 12-hour higher lows and if the crypto space keeps strength over the weekend. I would be a lot more confident that Bitcoin and crypto could keep strength over the weekend if we weren't this weak in the broader stock market. We do have an hour and a half left to go. If we can get an hourly bounce going in stocks here, that'll shift things a little bit. But if we keep dropping for the next hour and a half, it's a pretty darn bearish day in the stock world. So ETH BTC gave us the clues, but we are still looking for an ETH USD 12-hour higher low next consolidation. Anything above 1463. Again, I exited most of my swing position. Did I exit at all? No, stop loss. I'm going to put my stop loss for the last 25% of my swing under 1463. But we're pretty much just trading, chopping around where I sold. So not feeling the FOMO at the moment. Even this morning, I wasn't really feeling too much of that FOMO. It wasn't much of a convincing bull break. So some of our leaders, Adam was one of the leaders when we broke the daily tightening range bullish first. We also saw 12-hour bull flag follow through first. Bulls must maintain 958 for the 12-hour higher lows to continue. And it will be notable to us when the 12-hour higher lows are lost. Adam BTC on the daily time frame, keeping an eye out for a potential rising wedge. I don't have a ton of confidence in this pattern, but again, if I'm looking for signs that would give me any red flags for a lead bull heading towards consolidation, the BTC pairing would need to break this bearish for that to happen. Going down the rest of our list here, OMG has been a lead bull today, but only really today, because only today did we break that initial bounce high, while 95% of everything else we look at already broke those bounce highs days ago. So more of a laggard bull move than a bull lead move is how I would view that. So yeah, you need to determine, again, just like yesterday's video, or 2 days ago, are you going to sit through daily consolidation and swing positions with longer term mindset and higher targets? Are you going to hold through FOMC? That's a biggie, because if not, you're looking for an exit sometime in the next few days to be back to cash. The dollar, let's check in on the dollar. So dollar broke recent lows, but no follow through. The dollar's not giving me clarity the last couple of days. It's chopping around, which guess what that means? It means look for a megaphone. So that's a megaphone to be keeping an eye on. But overall, essentially we need to break the low of this week, next week for further weekly pullback. So we'll be watching that first thing next week with the new weekly candle starting. Pretty solid sell-off in the high-risk, high-reward cannabis space the last 2 days. Big pullback of daily consolidation. 20% drop. So a little bit of risk off the past couple of days. Crypto did get that second leg up on many names to keep things looking pretty bullish in the short term. But again, I'm still a bit cautious. I don't have high conviction that we're about to roll over into a significant pullback, but I know that after the size of the bounces that we've seen and the fact that we are in monthly and weekly downtrends, definitely not a bad idea to take a bit of profit on that kind of move. FOMC is Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern. All right, I'm reading the chat room now for things that you all want to look at or questions you all have. Glad to hear. Crypto noob, Bitcoin 1 minute stair step. Yep, that move up there and that 1 minute stair step was into, what was it, a 15-minute lower high? Yeah. So a 15-minute lower high there is the most likely scenario due to the size of that pullback. 1 minute stair step breaking. Certainly can't say that, the 1 minute stair step breaking is going to give us a 15-minute lower high, but that's how we can position for the possibility that that's how it shapes up. What do I need to see to know a 4-hour high or low is set? I need to see I use the 15-minute for the 4-hour. So generally speaking, a 15-minute trend change is when you see a 4-hour bounce or a 4-hour pullback into consolidation. So here on Bitcoin, we have the high, and as soon as we confirm the 15-minute downtrend, our 4-hour consolidation is now underway. Is shorting waves a good idea? I personally would have ideally, well, at this point, if I'm going to be comfortable with a risk and reward setup that I like, I would need to see an hourly bounce. I need a closer stop level. 589 is too far away for me. So if I'm looking to try and play a 12-hour downtrend confirming with a lower high and lower low, I need a closer level to play off of. So I would want to see a bounce and set an hourly lower high, and then I would use that hourly lower high as my stop, because if we confirm an hourly trend change back to the bulls, that's a 12-hour higher low then shaping up, and I would want to stop out. So I don't see a setup that I like at the moment. I would have to see a bounce to get the right risk and reward setup that I would want. XTZ BTC on the weekly. Looks like I had a rising wedge here that played out. I have no idea when I drew this. Did we draw this last video? Probably last Wednesday, last live stream. And that leads to weekly consolidation. So anything above 5854 is a weekly higher low, but the bulls have to regain a daily trend in their favor for any confidence that a weekly higher low is shaping up. And right now, anything under 78.68 is just a daily lower high. So burden on bulls to prove to us that a weekly higher low is shaping up. So again, the most likely scenario in the short term here will be hourly lower highs on names like Bitcoin that have pulled back this much. And we will use our Fibonacci retracements to determine the most probable scenario. Is the hourly bounce a bear flag? Is the hourly bounce big enough to set up space for a trend change? That's the next most useful information that I'm going to be looking for over the next 6 hours as we head into tonight. Can we get any signals from EMAs crossing? Yes, for me, I use them as momentum. So it is notable to me that Bitcoin, it's a bit of a lagging indicator here. I mean, we were obviously bullish Bitcoin long ago, but we were bullish Bitcoin into the bearish momentum. The momentum shift took place for Bitcoin's second leg up here. I would say that took place 5 days ago, and the bull cross took place maybe 2 days ago. So it is a bit of a lagging indicator. It's notable to me that it's crossing bull for the first time in months, but it didn't give me any information that I didn't already have. Sometimes it can. Sometimes it can keep me patient. Look at the biotech sector. Maybe a bad example. Just trying to look at names that were really beat up and that finally saw these bull crosses for the first time. Essentially, it's when I'm looking at really prolonged trends that level out and then shift the momentum into a bounce. I look for the EMAs crossing to help give some confidence there. Yeah, I don't have any good examples offhand. Not often. Not often are they telling me something that price action is not telling me. FTM. Is it a convincing weekly uptrend? These EMAs, we've dropped so much. These EMAs are skewing things, but yeah, it was a little higher low and higher high, definitely. Certainly the first time since we double topped at those all-time highs. So what does that mean? It means we zoom out and scout a monthly lower high. Haven't started the monthly bounce yet, but if we do, we know we have tons of space for the monthly lower high to form. So again, everybody, is Bitcoin the bottom? It's going to take so much time for us to have any confidence in that. I mean, look at the monthly time frame for Bitcoin. We could get another 40% bounce follow through just to look for a monthly lower high. Can we set up a monthly trend change? For a monthly trend change to set up, we're talking 4 months minimum. Multiple months to bounce, multiple months to pull back, multiple months for continuation. So it takes a long time. At this point, I'm just watching weekly. Can we change weekly trends on most altcoins? Even though some individual coins have already done so, we certainly need the majority of coins to do so. And at this point, ETH is also a possible weekly bear flag. It's less probable to be a weekly bear flag than Bitcoin, but in terms of retracement size, we got a lot of work to do. The thing is, when you see this kind of volatility in both directions, a lot of bears on social media are talking about how we're going to just collapse from here. And in my opinion, this is where we form the tightening ranges. Think of how many people just watched a 60% bounce take place and had zero exposure to it and said, darn, I knew I should have bought, shoulda, woulda, coulda. If we drop another 40% from here, we're going to be back down looking for a weekly higher low, and there's going to be a lot of bulls or a lot of people with cash on the sideline. They're going to take that second chance opportunity for long entries. So I believe we're in for weekly tightening ranges. I'm certainly not saying weekly consolidation is coming at this point. I don't have enough information to have any confidence saying that. But once we do, I will be looking for a tightening weekly range to develop before we look for it to break. I do not believe, some of these alts have bounced so much that even if Bitcoin did see a lower low, under 17.5, as long as it didn't have follow through, then a ton of alts are not going to break those lows because they would need such a bigger pullback percentage-wise. Would I play overbought conditions to enter short instead of playing off of a level for a hard stop? I would use overbought conditions to be a piece of the puzzle to establish my trade game plan, absolutely, but I would still be using price levels as a stop. Can't use RSI in itself as a stop because obviously it can go more extended than we think. So I would do it the same way that I play the oversold bounces and the dumps, where I match the aggressiveness of the bulls If I'm scaling into a short, I take off partial on a pullback, anticipating that we're just going to form a higher low, at least initially. So you can watch on the video on our YouTube channel, how I trade crypto breakdowns. You can completely inverse everything that I say in that video. And that's how a bear would approach the same trade style in a different direction. I don't look at the ETH pairs for alts. I haven't looked in depth, but I mean, really it's the last year and a half that I've fully grasped and been able to significantly benefit from understanding the Bitcoin correlations. And there is absolutely such a thing as analysis paralysis, where you're looking at too much stuff. So not looking to add anything else at this point. QNTUSD. So daily, unable to break resistance, and we did break short-term support. So we're in a 12-hour downtrend already. Support is down at 93.55. If that level breaks, we're going to be headed towards 4-hour oversold conditions. Bulls are hoping for an equilibrium. So bulls are hoping we can hold that low and tighten up this range through the weekend. If that level breaks, weekly consolidation will very likely be underway. So we've been consolidating a bit longer than most names here. Holding on sideways, but not getting that leg up that many names saw during these past few days. You got it, Ollie? I don't know nothing about a TriStar Doji. Again, for me, when I first started trading, I would look at daily candlestick shapes and I would make decisions based off of them. And then a few years later, I realized I can zoom in and have such a better idea of what's going on. So for me, it's just the Bitcoin 12-hour tightening range. You can't get, for me, you can't get any more clear than that setup. 6 hour. 6 hour is the most clear. Stair step drop, stair step bounce, stair step. So just tighten in range. Can we hold 22.3 and form a higher low and continue tightening up through Saturday? That is the question that we are looking. The burden's still on bears. I mean, bears have to take out 12-hour higher lows for any kind of follow through. Because if we don't take out the 12-hour higher low, then bulls don't have much to worry about. Where do I put my stops when holding for 12-hour daily consolidation? I'm not sure if you mean holding short or long. There are names where at this point I would have already been short. I mean, the names that gave us 12-hour lower highs. So that post I made on the morning, not that one. The post I made on the morning about the weaker name scouting 12-hour lower highs. So let's just go to one of them as an example. Waves was on that list. So what was an indication of waves topping out? Well, we lost the hourly uptrend. So you could say as soon as we lose the hourly higher lows, that has to be the 12-hour lower high. That's the stop loss that I'm going off of. If I know that I'm scouting a 12-hour lower high as the most likely scenario, as soon as the shorter term time frames give me the first indication, yep, that's forming, I then want to be in a position and using that level as a stop. Because again, the theme of some recent live streams here, I can't use this stop. That is too far away. The risk reward does not make sense. I have to wait for a new level to form. So I have to be zoomed in, watching for signs of that weakness. So losing the hourly higher lows sets the 12-hour lower high, and that then becomes the stop to be going off of. I wouldn't say BTC dominance has been rallying hard. It's an oversold bounce into a daily lower high. If we change the trend, at this point, if you just show me, if you take away every single chart of crypto and you only show me this chart, I would say that the most probable scenario, if this confirms an uptrend, it means crypto is weak. And it means alts are dropping harder than Bitcoin. It's possible that Bitcoin sees another leg up and leaves alts trading sideways like we saw a few days ago, but I don't believe that would be the most likely way that we confirm an uptrend on the dominance chart if we are going to get one. If I am a crypto bull and an altcoin bull, I want to see us fade back down towards those lows, and I want the dominance to stay weak. CRV, big upper wick, still a 12-hour uptrend with tons of space. We're going to look for a 12-hour higher low to form. 4-hour stair-step bear break just happened, but tons of space for a 12-hour higher low. This is a name that I can look at that and say, even if Bitcoin loses the 12-hour higher lows, it's still entirely possible CRV holds them, because we can drop 20% and still be holding them. A lot of space to work with. I would have been interested in an Ethereum re-entry of the positions that I sold. The hourly RSI came pretty close to oversold. It didn't quite get there. We had a Bitcoin falling wedge. This was one of those scenarios where, again, in 2017, I would have woken up in the middle of the night and I would have grabbed a position. In 2022, I don't do that anymore. If the trade comes to me while I'm at the computer, great. If it doesn't, great. So Bitcoin had a falling wedge here. This is it on Ethereum. It was better on Bitcoin, but that helped mark a bounce. So if I were awake, hourly time frame tightening up into an equilibrium that broke bull, setting a 12-hour higher low, holding 12-hour EMA 12, I definitely would have grabbed at least half of what I had sold back and then stuck a stop under that level. But not this time. How do I scout double tops? By watching to ensure that the price is extended in the short-term time frames. So if I'm looking for a 4-hour double top, I want the 5 and the 15-minute RSI over 70. I want the bulls to have used up their momentum just to get to resistance to increase the probabilities that we reject. Oftentimes, if I am top fishing or bottom fishing, I am making my entry before I know if it's going to reject or not, because the risk is so small. If I would stop out at $1.101, I'll short it at 99.5 cents on the way up in the face of strength, because if we reject, then my reward is going to be multiple times what the risk would be if I stop out. But I have to ensure that those shorter term time frames are overbought to increase probabilities that we reject. Another factor would be, let's say Bitcoin breaks resistance and the altcoin is still not breaking resistance. That would also increase the probability for me that the altcoin would reject from that resistance. The same way, Ethereum broke resistance, USD, but ETH BTC did not. What sectors do I believe in long term? None. Not one of them. That is how I trade. If I start believing in sectors long term, my emotions start influencing how I trade. They're just numbers on a screen. They're not associated with anything to me. We can drop 50% more. We can shoot up 500%. I don't know which is going to happen. Every single day I get information which helps me determine what's going to happen. I don't care about fundamentals. I do very rarely, but 98% of the time I do not. When I care about fundamentals, so if Meta, Facebook, if Meta comes out and gives some news that is all over the headlines, then I'm playing sand and mana bullish and ape. That's the kind of fundamentals that I care about. All right, I'm done talking. Hope you have a good Friday. Appreciate you stopping by. We don't have 100 likes. I'm never live streaming again if we don't get 100 likes. Hope you have a great weekend. And don't forget to do good